Good morning, Henry.
Good health to you, Lady Rosa. By the way, like you were saying about that book,
My favourite book. Pray tell, did you find it?
as I wandered through the fortress, I stumbled upon von Bergov's chambers, and there it lay. Red leather, gold inlay, just as you said.
You really found it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. By the way, did you have any time to leaf through it and see what it's about?
Actually not.
That's too bad. I think you would like it. And perhaps even learn a thing or two.
Why do you think so?
I just think you might find some common ground with the author. Not in absolutely everything, of course. That's just not possible. But in basic matters, I believe you'd agree. Look, you've never thought about writing something.
Me? And what would I write?
How should I know? Poetry, a novel, a treatise, or a whole book?
That's a tempting notion. Who knows? In another life, I might have become a writer.
Wouldn't you want to at least give it a try?
I suppose I'm not quite sure where you're going with this.
There are still a few blank pages left, so we could finish writing it together. You and me. What do you think?
That sounds great.
We'll have plenty of light and privacy in my chambers. Will you escort me?
My pleasure.
How should I start?
You haven't thought of anything yet?
Now, I have many ideas, but we must contribute in equal part.
Both? Well, fine. And what should I do?
Just tell me what you'd like to read about. A tale of a man or a woman? I'll take careful notes of everything.
Well, there are heaps of stories about men. So I propose one about a woman.
All right, a woman then. But I'd need to know more about her.
Such as...
Tell me one trait that is important for you. What would impress you in a girl?
I admire courage in girls. They're weaker than men, and life is rarely easy for them. But they still don't give up.
Do you know one like that? Tell me about her.
How could I not? After all, I'm looking at her.
You think I'm brave? Father says I'm more rash, always acting before thinking.
Well, nobody's perfect. But in my opinion, you're certainly brave.
Enough, you flatterer, or I shall blush. We'd better get to writing. Let's say we write about a woman who is brave and isn't afraid to say what she thinks. Would she do it for herself or for someone else?
For herself. She can afford to be a little selfish for once.
That may be true, but I still think it would sound better if she were also defending the interests of someone else. I'll figure it out somehow. Well, just about finished.
Well, let's have a look.
Not yet. Something's missing.
What?
A picture. I don't trust myself with proper illumination, but I think I can handle a sketch, especially if you'll be my model.
What? And what on earth do I have to do?
Lie on the ground on your stomach and swing your legs, but not much. Like you're lazing around.
Oh, that doesn't sound too bad.
Well, now we're done.
Oh, finally. I'm sore all over.
Your suffering is over. Come take a look at what we've done. Your reward. So what about that story of ours? Tell me your impressions.
That's nice. A bit didactic, but not to the point of boring moral bludgeoning. And that's the way it should be. Sermons for ordinary people work in a similar way. They entertain and encourage, with a few lessons added in between.
You see, when I lead Mass one of these days, I'll certainly think of you. And what about the sketch? For such a slapdash job, it's not bad, right?
Oh, it's pretty, really. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
I know I'm no master illuminator, but otherwise, I think we can be quite satisfied. And thank you for the help. I really enjoyed it.
Well, so did I. And for that matter, you're an interesting girl. I'd like to get to know you a little better.
No beating around the bush. How about that? Please do stop by sometime. I wager it will be enlightening for both of us. Perhaps I can show you my collection of hunting trophies.
You said you could teach me something. What did you have in mind?
If you ask nicely, I'll share some of my hard-earned wisdom with you.
Very well then, Lady Know-It-All. Let's say then I come on bended knee. What scholarship can you pass on to me?
That depends on what you're interested in. There's a whole world hidden inside of books I could talk to you about for days on end. Or if you prefer actions instead of words, I can show you a few shooting tricks. But I warn you in advance that it will not come free. After all, there's nothing more valuable than scholarship. So, what would you like?
Maybe another time. God bless. Glad to see you again.
You have the gall to show me your face again? I'll call the guards.
Hold your horses. I'll come in peace. Actually, I have a little offer for you.
You've come to blackmail me again?
Call it what you like. I need to get into the City Council Assembly. And I reckon you can help me.
The assembly? The one King Sigismund is supposed to attend in person?
Surely you wouldn't deny me a chance to meet the king?
Don't try that on me. This is connected with Ruthard, isn't it? And tell the truth.
I want to know what Sigismund tells the council. I hear it'll be important.
You want to spy? Do you know what you're risking? And what I'd be risking? Forget it.
Have you forgotten I have you over a barrel? If you want to keep your position and your head on your shoulders, you better shape up.
All right, all right. Maybe we can make a deal. If I get you into the council, you'll behave appropriately and you won't betray yourself, or especially me. And that will be the end of our business together.
I must have misheard you. Our business will be over when I say it is, not before. So pull your head out your ass and see to getting me into that assembly.
All right, Jesus. No need to lose your temper. You can get into the council assembly relatively easily. My cook's son will be serving there. He's roughly around your age. Maybe he can be persuaded to let you stand in for him. Although, not everyone would want to give up an opportunity to serve the King of Hungary.
Who's this boy?
Franta's his name. Franta Cooldown. He's an idler and a boozer, but he's proved his worth as a waiter. Which reminds me, you'll need his letter of permission to serve in the council. Otherwise, you won't be let inside.
What will I need to work as a waiter there?
Fast feet and good manners. And the livery of a royal waiter.
Excuse me?
Or do you think you can serve the king in a torn shirt and muddy hose?
Well, no. But I never heard about any livery before.
Our usual waiter had a brand new livery made specially for meeting the king. Don't even show up there without it.
Where can I find the cook's boy?
He's supposed to pick up his new clothes at the market today from Master Tailor Schneider. You'll almost certainly run into him there. That is, if he's up and about after his boozing bout. I swear that fellow practically lives at that Tin Hen.
At the what?
That German alehouse, the Iron Eagle. That is Zum Eisernen Adler.
What would work on him? How can I persuade him to give me his job?
Would you like me to give you a letter for him? I told you how to get to the assembly. Now do your part.
I'll be going then. See you at the council.
Just make sure we both come out of it alive.
Strong pots. Pots here. Twice fired.
You must be Franta Cooldown.
I am. And who might you be?
I'm Henry. I heard you're supposed to serve at the City Council Assembly.
I am. What's it to you?
Supposing I took the job on for you. You can put your feet up, fill your belly, and I'll do all the work for you.
Look here. It's not like I'm all that keen on it, but it's well paid. Apart from that, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Them councillors stuffing their faces and guzzling wine, while I run around like a bugger with pitchers so they don't run dry. Why would you want to stick your nose in there?
I want to see the king in the flesh.
Why's that?
I heard a lot about him. How he won lots of battles, how he's courageous, just...
And as bad-tempered as the devil. He's got the councillors shitting themselves, fearing what's coming at this assembly. The more I think about it, the happier I am about not having to be there. To begin with, you'll need confirmation that you've worked as a waiter at the council and you're capable of serving even His Majesty. Look here. Do you have any idea what's expected of you? Can you tell different wines apart and that?
Well, to tell the truth, I'm not exactly an expert.
You're off to a great start, but whatever. If you make a mess of it and the king has you whipped, you've no one to blame but yourself. Show the confirmation to the head butler. Tell him I sent you and think up some good excuse. Clear?
That makes sense.
And you'll need a waiter's livery. I had a brand new one made. Here it is. I look like a prick in it. Hopefully it'll sit better on you. The main thing is, don't lose it before the assembly or get it covered in shit.
Thanks. I won't disgrace you, I promise.
You better not.
How are things at home? Calm down a bit?
All right. Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming. What's wrong with him?
He got poisoned. Probably from food. He's writhing in agony. By turns praying and cursing, spewing from both ends.
Oh, that's enough. All right. At least you're here. We can't be without a waiter here, when the king himself will need waiting on. So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. Here it is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. You can put your steel aside in front of the council chamber, along with your other stuff. You won't be needing it anyway. You don't want to be dragging a load if you're running around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are? For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great responsibility.
Well, I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen. A good waiter should stand in a corner, look willing and ready, and not get in anyone's way. In short, behave as if you're not there. But when one of the gentlemen calls for wine, you run and pour it for him on the double. You'll find the pitchers on a table by the door to the chapel. You take one and go to their table and pour for them. White Tokai or red monastery wine.
White or red, by the door to the chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarzhitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir Adam of Zarzhitz stays dry.
And if the king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him. And the most important thing?
Remember who wants what?
That too, but more importantly, do not disturb the councillors at their work. They have a lot to discuss, and in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes, but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
Absolutely. I'm a waiter, after all. Not some street gossip monger.
Correct. And if you manage not to botch it up, you can even rise on the social ladder. Not just anyone can serve the King of Hungary, but you'll manage it, right?
I know everything I need to. I can do it.
Excellent. Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
Are in urgent need of new weapons. Unversüchlich. Arsenal is a joke, and on top of that, the army was requisitioning from it. Should the town reserve have worse weapons than any Räuber in the domain?
What are you getting at, boy, Chris?
A full cup of
I'm
monastery
saying
wine.
that the bandits who freed Hinnick, the Dry Devil, used that thing.
I'll be right
That
back.
Hackenbücher.
I'll be right
Hand
back.
cannon. Can you believe it? Where did they get them?
You're the one who should know where they got them, since you're a gunsmith.
What are you implying,
Sir?
Friedrich? All I'm saying is that they had them, Herrgott.
Thank you.
It is eine Schande when outlaws have better weapons than the city garrison. And Herr König surely knows this too.
What is it, Eldris? You smell a deal?
What I smell is that your stubborn heads do
I'd
not
like some
realize
monastery wine.
what
Refill my cup, boy.
this is. The Dry Devil is running free. There are Raubritter everywhere in the region. We have
Sorry,
the
sir.
army bearing down...
Orders from
anyone
above.
to defend
This is
yourself
unbelievable.
With a few rusty halberds.
And who is it you want to fight, exactly? The merciful
White Top,
King
pour
Sigismund
me
is
red wine.
providing us with protection, isn't he?
Der König and his army will not be here forever.
Shut up!
Sir?
The king can arrive at any moment. What if he heard you?
Well, what then?
Thank the Lord.
We're sitting atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with brooms?
You're right, Eldris. But where can we get the coin for better equipment?
We can always confiscate the property of the king's enemies, nicht wahr?
We are more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory, and the king is surely aware of it as well. Maybe if he waived some of the taxes?
The king fears that this town will rise against him. He'll take the arming of the city's militia as a preparation for war.
So you suggest we just wait with arms crossed for the Raubritter to wreak havoc all around?
We can always ask the king to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
I'm afraid I see no solution of the current situation. We shall wait and see what His Majesty thinks about the matter. Maybe we can change his mind. Vielleicht?
I'd like to report to the Honourable Council on the cleanliness of the city and the state of the public baths.
You mean baths or brothels?
That's not a good idea, sir.
This is unbelievable.
So, the cleanliness of the city is not what it should be. The current baths in the city fall far short of covering all the citizens' needs.
You're right, Jerome. But a woman named Betty has showed up on Hopbrink and wants to repair the bath.
Is everything all right?
There.
No.
She's a
But there's
protege
nothing you
of
can
mine.
do about it. Come
Her efforts
closer.
are commendable, but I don't think.
I need something from you. There is an item in my study that I confiscated from a female thief. She thought she could wriggle out of it by telling me who the item belongs to.
And what is it?
A silver goblet. She sneaked into Sir Ulrich's house and stole it. No one's noticed the theft yet. But if Ulrich finds out, he'll turn the city upside down to find the culprit. Go and get it. And don't you make a mess there, understand?
Where can I find this goblet?
Use your eyes and come right back with it, understood?
Neither a civic duty nor a right.
Have you forgotten the Black Death? A great many people died needlessly.
Are you questioning God's plan? The Black Death had nothing to do with the baths, unless the Lord wishes to punish the wickedness going on in there.
Keeping the city clean is important, but we don't have money to spend. Arguing
nice.
about who is going to wash where
Whose
and
silver
how
might this be?
is a waste of time.
It's only a waste of time because we're always arguing about the same thing.
Not at all. If you'd finally admit that it's a trifle, we wouldn't have to keep coming back to it.
A trifle? Do you ever...
So, did you find it?
I did, Master Bailiff. Here it is.
Not so loud. Show it here. That's it. And now go back to your job.
Free, too.
Why not? In Jerome Nas's earthly paradise, everything would be free.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Gentlemen, let's agree to disagree. What if the king heard us?
I got word that Rutard has pulled off another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way.
I
At least
fancy
until
some
His
Tokai.
Majesty honours us
Refill,
with his
boy.
visit. And as we know, Gunslin absolutely hates
I
him.
apologise, sir.
He can hate all he wants, as long as he does no damage. All right, what have you got to say about it?
Me? Well, I'm not sure what you're implying.
I'm speaking about the Rutard incident. You were there, weren't you?
Oh, that. Just a small
Sir?
misunderstanding. We've sorted it out and everything's settled.
Well,
My
thank
ears
the
must
Lord.
be deceiving me. Are you defending Rutard? Besides, if his men attacked yours, as I've heard, then we have a good reason to punish him.
What happened there? Leave nothing out.
I don't like Rutard,
Waiter,
true, but in this
pour me
case
red
it
wine.
really was nothing.
Everyone in the city gossiped about it. I heard there were several dead.
I apologise,
You,
sir.
that's
one?
grossly exaggerated.
And
I
quickly.
don't think Rutard will cause any trouble. He is sensible enough not to draw attention to himself while the king is here.
That's true. Because if we don't do something about him, the king himself will put an end to him, and soon.
Good, sir.
Unless he puts an end to us first. God knows
Thank
what
you,
he wants
waiter.
to tell us.
If nothing happened, there's no point in dwelling on it. Let's move on.
Things have got out of order in the town. Some adventurers decided to take the law into their own hands and restore the tradition of duels. It's not only barbaric, but also illegal. If we tolerate this, the rabble in the city will go wild and do whatever they want. I suspect the gentleman from the city's sword fighting school brought this
Boy,
custom to
I'd
us.
like some
that
white.
German, Menhard, is just hanging
apologise,
around the
sir.
market looking for
Which
trouble.
wine?
Tokai! That's the white!
Sucker. You act like you've never been in a fight yourself. And to accuse a swordsmaster without a shred of proof. We're not some old fishwives on the market.
Sir?
So, you will just leave it be?
Proven offences.
Don't hang around me. Vanish,
And
you
that's
hear me?
that. There are more pressing matters to deal with.
More pressing than the open contempt of the whole town garrison.
Waiter!
The guards are apparently
Refill,
settling
sir.
accounts
Do you
their
think I
own
come to the
way.
council
We'll
just to
soon be
guzzle
the
wine?
laughing
Come
stock of
here.
the whole town.
You can rest.
What can I help you with, sir?
I left my gloves in the chapel. I took them off to pray, but then I rushed here and forgot to take them. I can't just get up and walk out now. But if you disappear for a little while...
And no one is left unscathed.
I really shouldn't, sir.
A fine servant you are.
It's on our work.
If I threw out everyone who complains over a beer...
I'd like some monastery
I'd soon be out
wine.
of
Refill my
customers.
cup, boy.
Ah, to hell with it. We'll never get anywhere like this. Why waste our time?
That's not a good idea, sir.
Since there's the eternal dispute over the cathedrals, the building of the church is dragging on, and in the meantime, they are calling diocesan pilgrimages to settlers, right under our noses. It's just a village with a monastery.
I'll have a cup
They are
of
going
wine.
to rock a roll mining
Nice
city.
big
Why
one.
can't we build faster? Hire more craftsmen, start with night shifts.
Haven't you noticed there's a war going on? Are the experts from far off supposed to work in a city under siege?
Boy!
Besides,
Where is my
I get
wife?
the feeling there's something other than the welfare of the city behind your complaints.
Oh, you do? Do you? And what would that be?
Like, for instance, that you'd like
I
to
apologise,
have your
sir.
own altar there?
Which wine?
So what if I would?
White!
Hold your horses,
Are you
gentlemen.
deaf?
That space in the side nave is mine.
When hell freezes over, my friend, your place is at least 2 steps behind mine.
A swordsmith dares to insult me? Ha! I think not.
Sir?
Excuse me? You wanted to buy yourself an altar in the cathedral, just like you bought yourself a seat in this council.
How dare you? I acquired my seat for the services our guild provided and still provides to the crown.
Well, I hope you're not supplying equipment to the army. If that's all they have, they would be defeated by that bunch of ne'er-do-wells from the Ales or Opry.
I'd like some white.
What?
Ne'er-do-wells.
Those wrestlers of theirs, of course. People from the whole town go to watch them brawl.
Oh, this is news to me.
Because it has all been sorted out.
Boy, are you deaf or
The guards
something?
raided and threw
Fine.
them all out.
White.
Ah, yes, I had
Good.
forgotten.
Now run along.
What do we have to discuss next?
I'm telling you, something is being planned. Oh, I doubt it. No one's gonna tackle Rootard.
Azonal Gyucsek össze, a legjobb katonákat, és kelkinek útra!
You have nothing to fear. Not you.
like this plan of fires!
Come now, Father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malashov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
How does it feel to breathe free air again?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
Or until you become a priest.
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life to the full. Wine, women, and song.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests, eh?
Indeed you should. After all, you are one of the lords of Rabosh.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is Samuel, my aide.
Who would rather not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
Or maybe you'll get to know each other better. He should be coming here later, by the way. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of Martin.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his own on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Kobila, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other Mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suitable times.
Excuse me. I'd better not drink.
Better communion wine than kosher, is it?
It's easy for him to rouse people to war when he has nothing to lose. From what I heard, he's well capable of raising hell, even without an army. And with one, Christ be praised.
This fella could give the king a lot of trouble.
And who would entrust him with it? Without a coat of arms and a noble house, all he can command is a band of mangy bandits. Yours is right. Rid arts and wait for Sigismund to run out of money.
I'm glad we finally accepted your invitation. I almost lost all hope. Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo, the last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off. How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
You're quite mistaken, Monsieur Baron. I have.
Ah, je suis désolé. This Bohemia is a strange land. I have seen farmhands, children, and even women fighting. But the clergy? Sainte Mère, do tell me about it. No doubt you fought on the side of truth and honor.
My last big battle was in Kosovo.
I've heard of this battle. Many great men fell there.
Aye. And it was there I decided it was nothing for me. So I settled down in the presbytery in Ujits.
Then, what are you doing here at a meeting of opponents of the crown?
Ah, the Lord moves in mysterious ways. You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to amuse us?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Where have you been on your travels? Have you seen the ocean?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess. Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing?
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
As it happens, I've got nothing better to do anyway.
Excellent. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings?
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
When Sigismund sees that, he'll be off to Hungary all the sooner. At a gallop.
Exactly. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Botchek of Kunstadt, Hamann Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
I'll get on it then. Wish me luck.
I wish us both luck. Before the day is over, the die will be cast.
I'd rather discuss those alliances sober.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even Butch. I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Older.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopry to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
You're exaggerating, like you've always done.
Me? Exaggerating? You're the one who turned my home into a house of ill repute. Your whores wandering around as if they owned the place.
Oh, actually, anything fun was strictly banned under your roof. But maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitter old grouch.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough!
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame. As always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher would sort it out, you'll see.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back! Hey! Who taught you that?
What's wrong with your legs?
Sacre! You're fast.
Left arm lower! Stand firm!
That was Zeke.
Otherwise, the first strike will put you on your
They teach you that in the
arse.
seminary? That was sneaky. Hey, who taught you that?
Cover your right side! You've got a gap
bad
there
for
I
a
can
priest.
drive a cart through!
Enough! That will do. My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. And the sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
I've got to get him on our side and to cooperate with us.
Aren't we all on the same side?
Maybe everyone's saying that. But it's time to put it into action.
After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me. And tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, it doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord! May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
I'd like a beer.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men at arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men at arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Rutard.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund?
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him. Yitka will like him, and he'll give her a whole bunch of children.
And to half the wenches in his domain too, eh? On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Take a look at that. A nightingale surrounded by hawks.
Drops the nightingale.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? By Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, I explained to him how such an alliance could be mutually beneficial.
Mutually? What do you mean?
He's got a pretty serious personal interest in this... bond.
Stop beating around the bush and spit out what you promised him.
Lord Kunstad has a niece, so I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agreed.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
I must sadly decline, sir.
I'll take that personally.
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Who did you learn from? In my experience, women usually learn other skills.
I acquired the basics from my husband. God rest his soul. And the rest I learnt quickly, as soon as others started sniffing around his estate. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Haman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes everywhere.
Take a look at that. A nice...
Huh? I heard something. Hey, you! What are you doing here? No one's allowed in here.
I'm waiting here for you.
Oh, how's that?
I've been watching you for a while, and I have a feeling you do well to talk a little. In conspectu Dei.
Who in God's name are you?
In God's name indeed. I'm a priest, and I know a wretched sinner when I see one.
Is it that obvious? Christ above.
Don't blaspheme. It'll help you more to confess.
And in the morning, when I met him, I swore I never laid eyes on his daughter, even though my back was scratched raw from our roll in the hay.
That's a mortal sin. Lying with a woman that you're not joined with in holy matrimony. And then lying about it too. That's already 2 commandments broken for the price of 1.
I'll go to hell for that, won't I?
You won't. As long as you repent. Be contrite, fast and pray. 10 Our Fathers. Ego te absolvo.
I'll start right away. Thank you, Father.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
My lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
I'd like to, but I'm afraid I've had more than my fill already. I wouldn't want to cause a scandal.
Wise. No matter, I shall drink a toast alone. But to your health.
I'm still hoping it works out. And...
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bojek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wencesla's side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylenders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
I apologize, sire. I'll do everything in my power to...
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not...